What's going on, everybody? It's Hot Corner Baseball here. I'm Ben Bogo, and I'm joined by.
Brody Austin.
And today we're back with another one of our top 10 lists. Today we have first baseman. If you didn't see the last video, we did catchers. That's a pretty interesting video. It included one of Brody's favorite players, Gary Sanchez. But that's just if you haven't seen that. If you have, thanks for watching. And now we're doing the first baseman today. So it's the same format as before. This time I'll be saying my list first, and then Brody will. But we'll say all of our lists, and then we'll talk about any disagreements and stuff like that. And as far as rankings, you might know this, but we do take 2019 into account, but we also do take a lot of the careers. But it was a little more difficult for first base, especially because there's so many good first basemen currently right now that some of the guys that have been great, like Votto, Pujols, just couldn't make the list because they're just not as good as they used to be anymore. But we and there are too many people that deserve to be on the list. So that's the only difference. And other than that, I'm just gonna get into my list. So at number 10, I have Josh Bell. Definitely the starting first baseman in the NL this year. I don't know why Brody making he obviously disagrees with that, but Josh Bell, number 10. The reason I put him at number 10 is he had a solid rookie year, hit 24 home runs, had a kind of disappointing second season. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like everybody expected him to build off the first year, and it wasn't. And then this year, he's having a monster season, leads the NL in doubles and RBIs. He's gonna start at first base in the All-Star game. The reason I put him at 10, first off, he's only been in the league for 3 years. Second of all, this is the first time he's proven that he can play at an all-star level, and I'm not sure it can totally last. I hope it can last because he's a really good player, but I'm just not going to rank him at fifth when we've only seen one half of a season that shows he can be an all-star caliber player. Number 9, I have Jose Abreu. Not the most exciting player, I'd say he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Plays in the AL Central on a bad, they have been bad in the past, the White Sox, so he doesn't get a lot of national attention, but he won the Rookie of the Year when he came into the league, and since then he's just been a really solid player, hitting 3 or 4 in that lineup for the White Sox for the past 6 or 7 seasons. Just been really consistent, 25 plus home runs, going to give you an on base percentage above 350, and just do his job. The last season and this year he's kind of had a down year. I mean his OBP is at 310 this year, but I think he'll pick it up. He still leads the AL in RBIs, so he's number 9 on my list. Number 8 is the guy, Carlos Santana. Been moving around the past couple of years a little bit. He went from the Indians to the Phillies and then back to the Indians. But he's been another guy like Abreu. He was originally a catcher, moved to first. I think he moved to third and first, but then he's just been a consistent guy. He's had a few years where he's been really good and then a little worse, but overall he's had a really consistent career. Going to give you another guy at 25 plus home runs and just drive runs in the middle of the lineup. Number 7, I have Eric Hosmer. So a lot of people were down on Eric Hosmer last year because he had a down year and after he signed a big contract with the Padres, but this year it's seeming like it's finally paying off because Hosmer's getting back to his level of play, like the caliber that everybody expects him to play at. He has a good average this year. He's getting on base a lot more. He's never been a power guy, but he has 10 home runs, I think. So uh, the reason I put Eric Hosmer above these guys that do hit more home runs and drive more runs is the fact that he's a really for first base he's not similar to any of these guys because he's able to steal bases. He'll give you like 5 to 10 stolen bases a season. He's gonna hustle like on the base pass. I mean, if you've watched any of the playoff runs that the Kansas City Royals had, you'd see that Eric Hosmer is the heart and soul of that team, and he hustled on pretty much every play, which is why I've kind of put him above these guys. And also, he's an elite defender at first base, so I think his ability to do more than just hit on offense is why I have him at 7. And I'm kind of looking past last year. I don't think it matters as much because the way he's producing this year and years past. Number 6, I have Edwin Encarnacion, a player just traded to the Yankees, well, I think we're going to do another video on that. It's a little late. It's a little like it happened a couple days ago, but we haven't had time to record a video, and I think we should make a video on it. But that's a separate topic. Encarnacion, the player, though, he's been a home run hitter his entire career. He's not going to do anything other than hit. He really DH'd a lot too, but he plays solid defense at first base, and he's going to give you 35, 40 home runs a year. And he's done that for the past like 10 seasons. So there's no way I couldn't put him on this list. Whether he can't play defense, can't run, it doesn't matter. He's providing on offense, and that's all that matters. That's what he provides. Number 5, I have Rhys Hoskins, a guy that's actually having like a really under the radar season. Everybody knows about Rhys Hoskins. Had a really insane rookie year, like half a season. Had a really solid year last year. I believe he hit 35 home runs. And then this year, he's been a little under the radar just because the Phillies at the beginning of the year, they were really popular. Everybody's talking about them because obviously they signed Bryce Harper. But since Harper's kind of struggled a bit, he's doing a little better now, but just they've been good. But I think they lost their lead to the Braves in the division. But either way, they've been good, but they just haven't been getting as much national attention as I expected or as they were at the beginning of the year. But Hoskins, he's had a really under the radar season. He has a 395 OBP this year, which is really, really good. He's gonna hit for power. He's hitting 271, so you need 270 to 280 hitters. A good player. I'd say 260 to 280 is his potential. And some guy that gets on base a lot, hits a lot of home runs. It's perfect. And the move back to first base is good for him because left field is not his spot. Number 4, this may be a little bit controversial. I have Max Muncy as my number 4 player. I think a lot of people think Max Muncy's overrated because he plays in the NL and people don't watch him all the time. But as a Diamondbacks fan and somebody who watches them, the Dodgers, all the time when the Diamondbacks play them, I can say Max Muncy is not overrated. Max Muncy I think he's here to stay, and he's one of the best first basemen in the league.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
What?
So you said Josh Bell, he can't go up in your list because you haven't seen enough for him. You said he's been here for 2 years, right? And isn't that the same case with Muncy?
Here's the thing. I would say Muncy, last year I totally thought I was on the same way I'm thinking about Josh Bell. The reason I say Josh Bell, he's only shown it for half a season. But Muncy has shown it for
rookie year. Bell's rookie year. Josh Bell's rookie year was
it was decent.
Those were better than
decent for
20.
Okay. But the thing is with Muncy, he showed it for a full season last year on a playoff contender, showed it in the playoffs, and he's continued to show it this year for a playoff contender. And his stats are way too good to keep him below where he's at. That's my reasoning. Muncy, a guy that was like a minor leaguer for his career with the A's, was down in the farm for a year and then came back with the Dodgers last year. He hit 35 homers. The reason I think he's more than just like the flash in the pan, last year his OBP was 392 and he had an OPS of 379. This year his OBP is 381, so a little lower, still elite OBP, and an OPS over 930. So the thing is with Muncy, that on-base percentage is what pushes him over the top for me. He's shown he can hit home runs. He's shown he can drive in runs, all that stuff. But the thing that really like solidifies him as a player that I think will stand for a long time is his on-base percentage, his ability to draw walks and get on by any means, which I think he's a good player. So that's why I have him at 4. Number 3, I have the guy whose jersey I'm wearing, Goldie. You can't see it, but Paul Goldschmidt, former Diamondback, obviously. He's just a great player all around. He can do everything. He can run, hit, gold glove defense, get on base, draw walks, hit home runs. Obviously had a down year. Everybody knows it. He's hitting under 260, which is nothing like him. He did struggle. Like, I don't know what's gone wrong with Goldie. I don't think gone wrong, but what he struggled with. But end of the 2017 season, he had a horrendous September. Had an average under 200. Beginning of last year, horrendous beginning of the year, and then he obviously picked it up. This year he's struggled, so I don't know. I know he's struggled with the fastball a lot, but either way, I think he'll return to form, and when he's in form, he has a capability to be number 1. And I think a couple of years ago we would have put him at number 1 on this list. He's just such an all-around player. He's awesome. Number 2, I have Anthony Rizzo. Got off to a slow start this year as well as Goldie, but he's absolutely picked it up. He's at 19 home runs, slugger in the middle of that Cubs lineup for 5-6 years now, and he's solidified himself he has made a case for himself being the best first baseman. He does pull the ball a lot, but it doesn't matter when you're hitting into the seats. He's going to hit for average around 300 at first base, a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs, and he's a clutch hitter as well. And last but not least, at number 1, I have Freddie Freeman. I think there's no debate at this point that he's the best first. But he's kind of taken over Goldie, and Rizzo's the best first baseman in the league. Similar to Rizzo and Goldie, he's got great defense at first base, and he just hits the ball. He's like Rizzo and Goldie when they're all playing well, gonna hit for average, get on base, hit home runs, and drive in runs, and that's all you can ask for a first baseman. So that's my list. I know it's a little long, but Brody, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try to go a little faster than
I had to explain
10. All right. So number 10, I have Carlos Santana. So Carlos Santana is having an all-star year this year. After making our video, I have switched my vote. We might make another video on that, but Carlos Santana should be the starting first baseman for the AL. After a down year last year with a 350 on base and hitting 230, he still hit for power, but still this year is just a total turnaround as we've seen for him in the Indians uniform before. Number 9, I have Josh Bell, another all-star in my opinion. He had a good rookie year with 26 bombs, 90 ribbies. Didn't show up his second year, but this year, like, he's putting up MVP numbers, and yeah, like Ben said, leading in doubles and ribbies. Number 7, I have Max. Number 8, I have Max Muncy. I'm sorry.
That's
He had
too
2
low.
great years, but like Bell, I haven't seen enough from him to move him above the likes of Hosmer, Abreu, and Encarnacion, and all of them. I definitely can see him move up, but for this moment, I have him at 8. Number 7, I have Jose Abreu. He had 2 crazy years to begin his career, and we all thought this dude's going to become the next great first baseman. And he has been. His average has always been there, a 300 hitter for a first baseman, which is unlike anything we've seen. And 2 down years now. This year's not been down, I would say, but his average and on-base percentage definitely have been low, like Ben said. And I definitely see him picking it up, but he's bringing in a ton of runs for that White Sox team. And yeah, he's my number 7. So number 6, I have Eric Hosmer. Like Ben said, Eric Hosmer might not show up all over the stat sheet like some of these dudes do, but he just does everything just does the dirty work. He's like one of the best fielders we've ever seen on the Royals, and obviously still on the Padres. And he's a big part of that Padres lineup, and he's picked it up after having a slow start to the season. Number 5, I believe, I have the new Yankee, Edwin Encarnacion. So Edwin Encarnacion has had 1 season without 100 RBIs, which, I mean, RBIs don't show everything, but the dude just hits. You'll never see him with less than 35 bombs. He can't field. I mean, I'll be honest, he can't field.
He's a better fielder than Voit, though, actually.
Yeah,
I saw some stat about this.
the numbers say that, but I don't know. They both aren't great.
Yeah, they're not great.
There's one reason we got him, and that was to hit homers. Like in that Little League stadium, we're going to see him pop bombs between Sanchez, Judge. That's a different video. I'm getting too excited. But yeah, that is my number 5. So number 4, I have Rhys Hoskins for the Phillies. After seeing him in his first year, I thought this dude was going to be a top 3 first baseman right away. His second year was good, not living up to what he did with over a 1,000 OPS, which is obviously not going to be sustained. But he had a good second year, and he hasn't looked back, honestly, since his first year. This year, 15 homers, 49 RBIs. In between that lineup with Harper, who struggled, McCutchen, who went down, Segura, that Philly lineup's still dangerous. Number 3, I have Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt has had a horrible year. He got off to a great start with his 1 game with 3 home runs, and I thought he's going to have his season that he's had with Arizona. But it's been honestly really disappointing after the Cardinals giving all that money for him when they could have just kept with Luke Voit and, just kept him, and instead of paying that much money for a guy who I could see being on the decline. Number 2, I have Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo he's just done what he's done his entire career. He just hits bombs to right field, and just played pretty good defense and just kept that lineup alive with him, Bryant, and Baez. And number 1, obviously, like Ben said, is Freddie Freeman, and I don't think that can be denied. He is the best hitter on that Braves team, which is something to be said with Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, and Josh Donaldson. So he's just sustained what he's been able to do, and he's my number one first baseman. So like I've done in every video, I have honorable mentions. So not my number 11 or first honorable mention is Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso is raking coming up for his rookie year this season. In my opinion, the NL Rookie of the Year with 23 bombs right now, and he's just bringing a lot of runs and bringing Mets fans something to hope for, which they are struggling to grasp right now. And my 12th, I wanted him on the list super bad, but I just couldn't fit him, is Luke Voigt. And he's one of my favorite players on the Yankee. He hustles, he's gritty, and just what can you not like about him?
All right. And then I'll just throw in a few more names like CJ Crone. You can make a case for him. I put him in my All-Star vote. I probably wouldn't now, but you could still make a case for being the All-Star starter at first base. Having a fantastic season. Had 30 home runs last year. Got cut by the Rays because they're cheap. But either way, he's been good for a couple years now, and I think he's an honorable mention, as well as Votto, Pujols, guys that have been. I mean, Pujols is a no first ballot Hall of Famer. Votto, you can make a case, but I don't think so either. I don't know about Votto, but either way, both those guys have been all stars for years, but they're just on the decline. Same thing with Miguel Cabrera. I honestly we haven't seen a Miguel Cabrera season from him since 2016. So it's kind of sad to see those guys on the way out, but they're definitely honorable mentions just because of what they've done in the past. But yeah, that's all I have. Anything else, Brody? Any disagreements? I mean, obviously, Monsi was on my list at 4, on your list at 8. Um,
Yeah, I just want to see a little more. He's been
yeah,
producing. He's
I
been
can see that.
producing a lot.
Yeah,
I just want to see him just do it for longer. Maybe finish this season. He could on this pace. He's gonna have better numbers than he did last year.
yeah,
And if that's the case, who knows?
yeah. So I could totally see that side of the argument, and I mean everybody on this list is good. So there's no it wasn't a difficult list to make, but like players are gonna be on there. You weren't looking for players to put on, but it was difficult because there's a lot of really good players for first base. So
Well,
um,
I think that wraps it up.
yep.
If you
So
liked the video, please leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe. We're trying to get to 50. We're trying to get to 100.
yep.
Been anxious. We're grinding videos out for you guys, and that's it. Hot
Yep.
corner. Peace.
Peace.